weighed in at a ripe weighing pounds of 137 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, with a professional record of 33
I was a very
victories,
talented
6
boxer.
defeats.
I lived off my talent.
And as a southpaw, Ricky put together a highly respectable 39 wins, 8 losses, and 3 draws record.
The new NABO Junior Welterweight Champion, Ricky Showtime Quiles.
But make no mistakes, people. I made a lot of mistakes along my journey in life with addiction. But I'm from South Lorraine, baby. I get back up and I keep going in life. Growing up, I grew up with 2 Puerto Rican parents. My father came down from Puerto Rico to work at the U.S. Steel Mill. I'm the oldest of 8 kids. There's 4 of us from my real father, 4 of us from my stepfather. You know, we're Puerto Ricans. Puerto Ricans love boxing. I guess I'm kind of a little nervous at the same time because, like, I'm not here to assassinate my mother or assassinate my father in any type of way or hurt any of my family members. I'm just speaking the truth about what transpired, what happened to me, how I grew up, and where I grew up and how I grew up, and the environment that I grew up in. You know, like I said, my father worked at the U.S. Steel Mill, and they do a lot of big parties at my house, all kinds of parties and stuff, all the Puerto Rican music, salsa music, dancing, and of course, you know, this is the 70s, drug use and partying. I'll just jump right into it because I was very hesitant to bring all this up or even talk about it today. But, you know, my father was a heavy drinker. My father's famous back home in Lorain, Ohio. Everybody knew who he was. His nickname was Chief. Little short guy, by the way, but that wasn't, I think he was like 5'2", 5'3", maybe. Everybody loved my father. He was a very kind to everybody. I think that's where I got my kindness from, was from my father. But unfortunately, he did a lot of drugs and drink. You know, the way that I grew up was they'd be partying, having a good time, and we'd be in our bedroom. Me, my brother Fabian, my brother Christian. My sister wasn't even born yet at the time. You know, I didn't know how to sleep that much, a lot of music, and then screaming and yelling from my mother. And my father used to always beat my mom. And she would run into my bedroom, screaming, crying, sometimes bleeding. And I would hide my mother in the closet or under my bed with the pillows. And sometimes my father would come and he'll find her and beat her up in front of us. Or he didn't find her and he was too drunk. And she would sleep in my bedroom until the next morning and sneak out afterwards. Very traumatic for me, and was like almost every night. Ever since I can remember, I know particularly I started remembering a lot of things at 6, 7, 8 years old. And it was very traumatic for me. And times I would go to school when I went to Palm Avenue School, I would black out in school. I didn't know how to do my work in school. I was traumatized. And in the 4th grade, they ended up flunking me in the 4th grade, which really hurt me really, really bad because I felt ashamed and embarrassed because I wasn't doing my work. I was falling asleep in school because I already didn't get no sleep the night before. And just from all the traumatic things that were going on in my household. My father was very verbally abusive to us kids. A lot of beatings, hitting all the time, screaming at all the time, always screaming, always screaming, always screaming. I was always uneasy emotionally and spiritually. I started boxing when I was 6 years old. And how that happened was, my Uncle Freddie, who was my mother's brother, he was my superhero, man. He was the guy that, my father wasn't in my life to teach me nothing, unfortunately. I'm always drinking, doing drugs, and partying. And my Uncle Freddie would always put on boxing, and it was a Puerto Rican household, so when they would be partying, we had this basement, and it was like a man cave for my father and his friends. Pool table down there, punching bags, headgear, and I would go downstairs and navigate down the stairs while they're all doing drugs and drinking down there. And I would just navigate to the punching bags. I would start hitting the punching bags. My Uncle Freddie would come and show me some boxing moves and stuff. And, I loved it. It wasn't because I was angry, because I wanted to hit things. It was more because it was something I was really good at. And it made me forget about my problems, my hurt, my pain. My cousins would come over to put the headgear on me, the boxing gloves on me, and I would box my cousins. My friends would come over, I'll box my friends, and I was fucking good at it. Slick, I was that type of guy that will make you miss, and then make you pay for it. Bop, slick shit, I call it. And I fell in love with it. At the age of 8, my mom ended up leaving my father. And there was a boxing place right down the street. Freddie Barrios owned it. And it was a firehouse. They turned into a boxing gym. So I would walk to the boxing gym. I was like the mascot in the gym. Manuel Rodriguez was there. Jimmy Ruiz was there. Jimmy Moon, all these big boxers back in that time that I looked up to. And I just started boxing. And I fought all these little tournaments and win. I fought at Sacred Heart, all the little tournaments, Sacred Heart, win all the tournaments there. When my father left, my mom, she went out dancing and partying and to sow her wild oats or whatever it was she was doing with her life. Once in a while, a babysitter would come, but there was times I was left in the house with my siblings by myself. I would lock all the windows, the doors, make sure I felt safe. And, as a kid, I'm 8 years old. I still have that thing about locking all my doors at night. Getting up 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night, make sure my doors are locked. It became a habit. And it traumatized me for a long time. And I kept that an emotional secret. Because I felt ashamed because I made a living with these, and I'm a man. But I kept boxing.
Who showed you love during this whole time?
My Uncle Freddie. My Uncle Freddie did. My Uncle Freddie was the guy that I loved a lot. And he taught me how to pray. He taught me how to be kind and loving. He was in the service at the time. And every time he'd take off, he'd be gone for months. But when he came back, I was so excited to see him. He taught me how to work out. We would jog around Oakland Park. I would jog with him. He'd teach me how to breathe. He gave me value. He gave me value, my Uncle Freddie. And he taught me how to be strong through tough times because he knew what I was going through with my mother, with my father. When he came out the service, he had my Uncle Freddie, he bought what are those things called, like a 3-wheeler? But back in the days, there were lowriders, and it was like a lowrider, 2 wheels here, a thing in the middle, and a long chopper. And he would drive through the alleys, and he would come pick me up and take me riding all over the Honda humps to the Black River and down there with it, and had the best magical time with them. Unfortunately, alcoholism and drinking and drugs started pulling him away. He was drinking, drugging, but he kept it away from us, and it just became more evident. And he started fading in the background and doing more drugs and drinking and less time. And I felt abandoned once again. I felt abandoned because he was there in my life, one man I can count on. And he started disappearing because of alcohol and drugs, and he abandoned me. and then call me. I would call him, then call me back. For months and months and months, and when I see him, his aura, his presence, his conversations weren't the same. And ultimately, he moved to Florida, where he got deeper into his addiction, and he died of alcohol and drugs, like my father. Alcohol and drugs. And it devastated me, and it hurt me because I felt abandoned by him. And I think that I still have these issues today of abandonment in my life, you know? That was my superhero. And, you know, so I just kept boxing, man. I just kept boxing and winning all these tournaments. And at the age of 14, my mom got remarried to a guy by the name of Edgar Davila, who I love to death right now. And I always did love them. But in the beginning, it was tough for me to accept this new guy in my mom's life. And he was in my mom's life prior to getting married. He ended up taking us. Edgar took me over to my grandmother's. At the time, we never met the woman in my life. From the start, gave us instant love, kindness. She treated us like we were her grandkids already. I'm the oldest grandchild. And as the years went on, my grandma and my grandpa will host Christmas, Thanksgiving every single year. All the family would come together. I never had that. I didn't have a family dynamic where we can eat together, pray together. And so when I met my grandmother, it was shocking because I never saw a side of that family like that. They always had together love and everybody eating food together. And it was shocking. And it was something I wasn't accustomed to nor seen in my life. This woman right here is the light of my life. Here's why. She's the rock of the family, the pillar, the glue that holds this family together. And she always bought me presents. My grandpa always bought me presents and gave me so much love. And the thing is, as the years went on, me and my grandma became like this. Like I would trust her with anything and everything. She's the light of my life, the best human being I ever met in my life. The light of my life, and no other human being at this moment can compare to my grandma. When I was around my grandmother, I felt the safest. I felt secure. I felt like I just want to lay my head on her lap. I will wash her toes and her bare feet with my own hands. That's how much I love my grandma. And I miss her because I don't have that now. I don't have that security that I feel safe with anybody that I talk to. Yeah, it was very difficult for me to understand this dynamic when I didn't have my father in my life. You know, when I was a young kid, when I was 8, I used to go look for him. I would leave my house in the rain, in the snow, and I would just leave without saying nothing to my mother, to nobody. And I would go look for my father, and I would walk across through Oakwood Park to 28th Street, to the bars in 28th Street. Bar to bar, I would knock. As an 8-year-old kid, is my father here? No, he was here, he's down there. He went to this other bar. And I would walk all the way down until I found him. I didn't find my father. Sometimes I did, and when I did, he would just come outside because they didn't allow the kids to go inside the bar. He would come outside and he would say, "How you doing, son?" I would try to have a conversation. I wanted a father in my life. All my friends at school, their moms go to the school, their fathers go to the school. I had nobody. And I would look at my father's hands to try to find an identification that I had a father in my life. To look at his hands, see if my hands were like his. And everybody loved my dad. He was funny, he was loving, kind. to them, and I know my dad loved me, but I didn't need another friend in my life. I wanted a father in my life. Teach me how to shave, teach me how to throw a football, participate in my life. I didn't have that. I seeked it from him, and how I did that, I would go on Pearl Avenue, 28th Street, Oak Park, where he usually be with his friends, just drinking, smoking weed. So I started drinking with them. So I felt like I had a father in my life. I felt ashamed that he wasn't there. I went to the gym to work out. Once I left the gym, I had to go home to the madness that was happening at the house. There was always cops, always called at the house, all the time. All the cops would come. At the age of 14, I was with all my friends, Rob, Ruben, Angel Sanquez, Eric Whitfield, Ricky Ortiz, aka Bone, who's no longer with us. They had a big party at my friend's house. I was in junior high, Whittier School, and they started drinking. People were drinking. These kids were drinking, and I drank some with them, and never drank in my life. I was 14 years old, and I got a good buzz. And I like to call it the 3 M's. It was magical the first time I drank. Magical, meaning all my problems, all my hurt, all my everything that was wrong went away. It was magical. I felt loved by my friends. All my hurt, my pain, everything went away. It was magical. You know, I discovered cocaine at the age of 15. And cocaine and alcohol go together hand to hand like boyfriend and girlfriend. And as the time went on, it became my medicine. Magical medicine, meaning every time I was hurt, I needed a drink. Every time I was sad, I needed a drink. Even when I was happy, yo, just get a drink. It became my medicine. And before I got sober, it became misery. It was misery. So boxing was the saving grace for me because at the age of 15, I wanted to enter this tournament called the Cleveland Golden Gloves in Cleveland. And every state had Golden Gloves, Los Angeles, New York, and it's a big tournament, it's a huge tournament. And if you win in your weight class, they call the Nationals, where all the states meet. They might be in New York City, Chicago, Detroit, wherever the big tournament. If you win the local city tournament, in my case it was in Cleveland, then you fight in the Nationals to get a chance to fight for the Olympics. So I was 15, you gotta be 16 years old to fight, but this is 1986. So this is before the computers and all that, and I lied, and I told them I was 16 years old. And there's 3 tiers. The first tier is green, meaning you have no fights. You fight people in that category with no fights. The second tier is novice, means, you know, you got like 5 to 10 fights, 15 fights the most, so you fight people in that ballpark. Then you got the open division, means you fight anybody, any age, no matter how many fights they got, they're the best of the best. So I put myself 15 years old, open division. You fight by 5 to 8 times to win the whole tournament. If you lose 1 time, you're done. I fought 7 more times with a broken nose, 2 black eyes, and won the whole damn tournament. And on top of that, I got the most MVP boxer of the year. I'm a little kid with this big trophy. I won the whole tournament with a broken nose. I repeated the same thing the next following year, 1987, won the Golden Gloves again, twice in 2 years in a row, without the broken nose though, the second time. And then there was a fighter by the name of Ray Boom Boom Mancini, who was a world champion at the time, saw me fight, and he came up to me and said, "You're a phenomenal fighter. I'm gonna use you one day for training camp. Because I'm southpaw, I'm left-handed." At the age of 18, he still remembered me, and he called me. He's getting ready to fight Hector Macho Camacho for the world title. But that Camacho had. He took me from Lorraine. I flew to Las Vegas. I stayed 3 months in Vegas, trained with him. And that was the first time I ever left Lorraine. I ended up turning pro at the age of 18 with Freddie and this guy by the name of Jim Kelly, who is no longer with us, from Cleveland. Signed a contract with him, and I had 4 fights. My first fight was in Baltimore. I'll never forget the guy's name, Chris Lucas. And then I had another fight at the Palace Theater. And then I had another 2 fights in Cleveland. And then I ended up signing a contract.
Gene Glenn scores it 19-12 for the winner, Ricky Quiles.
I signed it with Mancini because Mancini was going to fight Camacho. Ricky was left-handed like Camacho and quick and whatever. There was, Ricky was like that anyway. There was a big limousine, you know what I mean, to pick us up and take it to the fight and everything. And that was the biggest fight that I know before he left. He was with me since he was about 8 years old, so he was pro. So he did okay. Yeah, I know he had a lot of problems at home, but I had to understand that his father wasn't too good with him, you know, I mean, somehow.
A lot of the kids didn't have a father, you know. He was like that, and Ricky did. You could trust Freddie, you know. He was there. It wasn't just boxing, you know, because Freddie didn't just teach you his boxing. He would tell you, you know, when you're doing something wrong, he would tell you, hey, you're doing this wrong. Don't do this. Stay off of that. Don't hang with this. That's how so he was there.
He had a lot of problems. Yeah, he's got into problems with the law and everything too, but I help him many times I can, you know. I help him out, and finally he's trained up. Then he just focused on boxing. Mancini didn't want him, and he talked to me, and he told me that he wants Ricky, and he had a lawyer that he can take it away from me, so I told him. I said, okay, I got a lawyer too. You think you can take it away from me? Take it. Try to take him.
You know, I know he was a little hurt by that, but I knew that if I would stay home, my drug use of cocaine and my drinking, it was gonna drown me.
And that's one thing about Freddie. When Freddie, you know, he loved you that much that he would let go of you for you to spread your wings and find your own way. You know what I'm saying? Because when he let go, when he let go, you know, that had to be hard for Ricky to tell Freddie, you know, hey,
Right.
you know, and Freddie was, you got, you know, sometimes you can only take a person so far, and someone else has to take over. You know what I'm saying?
I dissolved my contract with Jim Kelly and all them because I wanted to leave Lorraine, sign a big contract with Ray Boom Mancini, which his trainer, Emil Griff, lived in San Diego. So at the age of 19, I moved to San Diego for 5 years. I started my pro career from there. The funny thing is that Elton John, the singer, and Bernie Taupin, when I signed my contract, Bernie Taupin wanted to be a manager who manages Elton John to this day. And so I ended up moving to San Diego. They paid for my place downtown San Diego. Big place on the 15th floor overlooking the city of San Diego. And they gave me money every week, and they paid my bills every month. I started fighting a lot at the Great Western Forum where the Lakers used to play.
Well, I don't know, just I love to win.
And I started fighting there, and I became very popular. I had like 18 fights at the Great Western Forum, live on NBC and Fox Sports TV. All the big celebrities will always be there, and I became a household name there. And Magic Johnson was there, and Showtime, and that's how I got my nickname, Showtime.
So Magic Johnson,
Yeah,
your nickname, Showtime.
yeah, mm-hmm.
Felix will be wearing the black trunks. On the front of him it says Showtime, and Showtime is in the building tonight. Magic Johnson over there in the front. He's going to play basketball for the United States in the Olympics. Then he'll announce whether or not he's going to play a limited schedule with the Los Angeles Lakers next year.
And as the time went on drinking like a good alcoholic and drug addict that I am, you know, I dove into alcohol and drugs more in San Diego where I was living. And I was masking my pain, my hurt, and my past. But I just couldn't stop drinking. Boxing saved my life because I had intervals of training camps. And I trained for 2-3 months for a fight, but I still drank periodically in my training. I've never given myself an opportunity ever to be sober 100% for any of my fights. I could have been in better shape. Alcohol and cocaine, it robbed me of my spirit and my soul, and it took away my gifts. I started fighting big fights on ESPN. I became a 4-time champion, 2-time champion in the lightweight division, 2-time champion in the junior welterweight division. And through all these fights, I would go out and drink and do drugs. I couldn't stop myself. So I wasn't in the best shape the way I should have been. I was in shape because I worked out really hard. But mentally, emotionally, and even physically, it robbed me from being the best that I could be for myself. And in 2004, I ended up fighting a guy by the name of Luis Vilata, who was from Peru. He was a Peruvian killer. He was a beast. He was like 30-something wins with 20-something knockouts, 5 losses. He was a beast. And they gave me an opportunity to fight him for the title, which is that title right there. And I trained really hard for this fight. I knew that he was a beast. And I'm not like a Mike Tyson knockout puncher. I wish I was, but I wasn't. I was just a flashy little skinny southpaw kid that was slick, make you miss and make you pay. That slick shit. I beat the big Mike Tyson punchers with my slickness. And so I ended up fighting this guy live at the Hard Rock Cafe Casino, live on ESPN. And we're fighting, and I'm out slicking him, out boxing him, which I was quite surprised. It was a lot more easier than I expected it to be. And I think that maybe the 8th or 9th round, and somewhere in that ballpark, I caught him with a good punch, and I knew he was hurt. But I couldn't finish him because he was a beast, so they gave him an 8 count. The referee pulled us apart, and they gave the guy an 8 count, but he kept coming, he's a beast. So we kept fighting. In the last round, the 12th round, the final round, I hurt him again. And I got 50 professional fights. But for some reason, I knew there was something wrong with him. Something was wrong. And I told her I almost hurt him again. The referee gave him another 8 count. I said, stop the fight. Something's wrong with this guy. He's hurt. But the referee let the fight go. And he kept coming forward. And I kept boxing. After the bell rang, I knew I won the fight. I'm crying. And I never did this. I got 50 professional fights. Never did this with anybody in the boxing ring. I grabbed this man's hand and lifted it up in the air in front of 7,000 to 8,000 people. And I paraded him around the boxing ring, and we got a standing ovation.
De sus 6 derrotas, la última fue la más devastadora, pues le costó la vida a los 35 años. El 29 de febrero del 2004 perdió en la Florida su título regional. El puertorriqueño Ricky Quiles lo venció tras un reñido combate de 12 asaltos. Minutos después de la pelea, Villalta se desmayó tras quejarse de un fuerte dolor de cabeza.
You go to my dressing room, and his dressing room is under the same umbrella, under the same roof. It's just right across the hall from me. And I'm taking pictures with the title. I got a big after party to go to. Everybody's laughing, and I'm gonna party, I'm gonna drink and party, have a good time. All of a sudden, I hear people like screaming and all this commotion going on. I'm like, what the fuck's going on, man? And my coach, my manager, my people didn't want to tell me what was happening. They didn't want to ruin my moment of being champion. All of a sudden, I start hearing ambulance, woo, woo, woo. I'm like, what's going on? I said, Ricky, you sit down, we need to tell you something. Luis Villalta just went into a coma. I'm not in boxing, like I said, because I want to hurt people, because I'm angry. I'm just in it because I'm fucking good at it. It's the only thing I ever did my whole life was this. So I just started crying, and as a man, I couldn't not go out and party. I canceled the party. When they opened the door, I watched while they carried this man out on the stretcher. And I just cried, and I went to a deep, dark depression. And then for 4 days, I went home, canceled the party, went home. I stayed in my house for 4 days. And he died on the 4th day. And when he died, I said, I'll never box again for the rest of my life. I quit. And I was up there, breaking new ground, making money.
World, Lorraine has their first ever champion in boxing, Southview High's Ricky Quiles. And for the 28-year-old, he is truly a winner in and out of the ring.
On the verge of fighting for a bigger title to make big dollars, and I just had to quit boxing. My promotional company and me, because he had 3 kids in Peru and a wife, gave them lots of money. I even gave money out of my own pocket, paid for his funeral, to fly his body back to Peru to be with his family. And it took a big toll on me emotionally, spiritually, and everybody kept saying, it's not your fault, it could have happened to anybody.
So Ricky, there's no need to feel guilt then?
Yeah, it's hard to say that because this is going to be a scar for the remainder of my life. I'll never forget this, you know, and it still hurts, and you know, it's this is hard for me, you know what I mean, because I'm a good person. I haven't slept too good this past, you know, week. It's been very difficult for me to handle this whole situation. So.
And I believe he died of aneurysm, maybe from accumulated fights. Unfortunately, I was the guy they fought and that happened to. It could have been anybody else. I dove into my addiction of alcohol and drugs. And I was living in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale at the time. And I went to a deep, dark depression. So I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, you know, I'm bubbly, but I masked all my hurt and pain with alcohol and drugs. When I quit boxing, I didn't know what to do with my life. I didn't know who I was when I quit boxing. Boxing, I've been doing since I was 6 years old. So when I retired, who's Ricky Quiles without being a professional athlete? The professional athlete, I held on to that title that made me feel like I'm a somebody. It made me feel I'm something in life. When I retired, I didn't have that no more. I remember one day, it was like about a year later, I haven't fought. I'm at the worst in my life. I've gained a lot of weight, had a big belly, I had black underneath my eyes from all the drugs and drinking, not sleeping well, not eating good. And I remember one day, I was having a little get-together party. You know, we're all partying, and some friends come over, and we're doing cocaine, we're drinking. Now, I'm that type of guy, I'm an addict, man. And I go to the extreme with everything. You know what I mean? With everything. Cleaning my house, if I see a little pepper on the floor, I gotta go get that. Like, I'm very extreme with everything. And same way with cocaine and drinking. I didn't do that little shit with the pinky nail. I did train tracks, you know? And I drank, and sometimes I stayed up for 2 days drinking, doing coke. So I'm drinking, doing cocaine with my friends, and this guy comes over and said, Ricky, man, they got these big fights coming out. And the cherry bomb. You know, he's Haitian, from Haiti. He's living in Florida now. He's #1 in the world. He's only just turned 21 years old. #1 in the world, Mike Tyson, knockout artist, beast. And I was like, listen, man, I don't watch fights no more. I quit boxing. Come on, Ricky, he's fighting the guy that you fought. And that's what piqued my interest. I was kind of high already, so I fucking put the fight on. And this guy that I fought before, I beat. And so the bell rings, the Edna Cherry comes out live, and it was on ESPN. I'm watching the fights, Edna Cherry knocks him out, one punch, knocks him out cold. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, God damn, that motherfucker's a beast. In my head, I'm thinking, that guy's a beast. Thank God I never fought a guy like that. He's a beast. Then my friend asked me, what do you think, man? He's a beast, right? He's a killer. And I was like, yeah, he's okay, you know, because of my machoism and all that. And I swear to you not, about a week and a half to 2 weeks later, I get a phone call, brrrring, brrrring, and I answer it. It's my manager. Ricky, are you ready to make a comeback? Are you ready to make a comeback? So now at this time, I'm going through all my money. I have nothing going on in my life. I'm spending my money on drugs and drinking, spending my money on other people that don't give a shit about me and using me for money. And I'm going through hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I jump up on the phone and say, I'm ready to make a comeback. I'll start throwing punches. Who do I gotta fight? You gotta fight Edna Cherry, the cherry bomb. I went, and I swear to God, I just saw the guy fight, knock the guy out a week and a half ago. I went, I'm gonna call you back, bro. Click. I was like, there's no way. I'm in the darkest depression of my life. I had no confidence. Rita never talked about this, only several times on a different platform. I wanted to commit suicide, and I never in my life felt like that until I stopped boxing. And I wanted to commit suicide, and I thought about it almost on daily, at nighttime. I went to sleep that night, and the twisting and turning. And the thing that I thought about the most was I make a lot of money from this fight. I'm not gonna win, I might get knocked out. I'm gonna take the fight. And everybody said, even some family members, friends, don't fight him, he's gonna knock you out. I ended up taking the fight, and I was so scared of getting knocked out. I was having nightmares and night getting knocked out. And everybody kept saying, don't take the fight. You're gonna be 36 years old. The guy was 21 years old, he was a beast. I was so scared that I promised myself, and I always break my own promises, always. There's no way I can drink or do drugs, I'm gonna get knocked out. And I was too vain, too prideful to get knocked out live on TV. The fight was gonna take place at the Hard Rock Cafe Casino, live on ESPN. And I was so ashamed and embarrassed the way I looked. I gained up to 186 pounds. I'm a skinny little guy, you know? I had a big belly. My cheeks were swollen, had a double chin. I gained a lot of weight. And I would run at nighttime in Florida at 2 o'clock in the morning because I didn't want to run during the daytime because I was so ashamed and embarrassed. I would run with these plastic suits on. And I would cry and run and talk to God. One thing that my Uncle Freddie always taught me was to talk to God and I believe in God very much. And I would cry along my jog. I would stop and cry, stop because I was so much out of shape. I couldn't run from one block to the other. And I did that every night. Ran at 2 o'clock in the morning. And still having these nightmares of getting knocked out. I wasn't good enough. I hated myself. I hated myself since I was a little kid. I always looked good with my jewelry, with money, cars. I masked the way I felt about myself. I would go to these press conferences for ESPN. Why are you taking this fight, Ricky? All the sports announcers. You're gonna be 36 years old. You're over the hill. He's 21, up and coming. And they put the mic in my face and I'm like, well, I ain't getting knocked out for nobody. And then I see at the corner of my eye, Emmett Cherry, he's about this big, but he's built like Mike Tyson. Come around the corner, came right in my face, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. I'm from South Lorraine, I'm a beast. I said, you ain't knocking nobody, I'm gonna whoop your ass. I swear to God, I walk away and I'm thinking, God damn, this motherfucker's gonna knock me out. But the fear of getting knocked out and fighting this guy Emmett Cherry was for the first time, I'm 35 years, gonna be 36 years old, was the first time since I was 14 years old that I didn't drink or drug for the first time. 1 month went by, the first time, I haven't had a month without drinking or drugging, sober, since I was 14 years old. I started getting some real confidence back. I got a 1-pack. The second month, 2-pack. The third month, I got a 6-pack. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm praying. I haven't drank or did drugs in 3 months. For the first time in my life, I felt the most confident. Physically ripped. I said, I'm gonna whoop this motherfucker's ass.
When we come back, Emmett Cherry on the rise, 14 straight wins. Ricky Quiles, a lot more experience to provide.
34 years older than Cherry, 36-6-3, and that career started in 1989.
Coming out the tunnel, I had my Puerto Rican gear on, the Boricua shit. I was ready to rock and roll. The bell rings, come out, and he comes out and he's an aggressive fighter. I knew this already, so I prepared myself to a lot of trickery, a lot of movements, because I knew he hits hard. He caught me with a combination, man. I thought he was gonna knock me out. And I saw 6 in the cherries. And I said, hit the motherfucker in the middle, Ricky, hit the, so I'm telling myself, hit the guy in the middle, and that's what I did for 12 rounds. But when he did hit me, he hurt me. But I'm from South Lorraine, man. I don't go down. I'm like the U.S. Steel Mill, I'm steel.
He's been the bigger guy throughout his career.
Inside my spirit, my heart, I'm mentally strong. Always been. I might not be the biggest puncher, but I'm mentally strong. That's why I beat those big punchers. Ended up beating him, became #1 in the world at almost 36 years old.
They are celebrating
get out the boxing ring, I haven't drank in 3 months. I come out the boxing ring, all my friends are there. I had a couple of friends from Lorraine that was living there in Florida that came to see me, and they picked me up, Ricky. Everybody's, I'm #1 in the world, and they poured beer on my head, and the beer went like this. I swear to God. I licked the beer. I was up for 2 days. Doing cocaine, drinking. I ended up going to Miami, to downtown Miami, at some clubs off Lincoln Avenue. I'm up for almost 2 days drinking cocaine. I get dropped off at my house, and I'm in this house by myself, high and drunk. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell am I doing to myself? I fall to the ground, I started crying, sabotaging myself again. What am I doing to me? I start cursing God, start cursing myself. I do have to say this, you know, I got 3 kids. I got my daughter, Ashley Quiles, Rodriguez Quiles. She's 37 now. My son, Ricky Jr. is 32, and my son, Julian, is 27. And I have my other 2 kids from another person. When I was 15, and the other 2 from when I was 19, and the other one 22. You know, unfortunately, because what my father did to us was that, you know, I'm gonna come get you guys, come pick you guys up. Never showed up, ever in my life. And I started doing the same shit to my children. I'm coming to pick you guys up. And I would go out and have a drink. After I have 2 or 3 drinks, and I had at that time, I used to have a beeper and it would just be blowing up all the time. And I would call, I'm coming, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Okay, we're waiting for you. My 2 boys would be waiting for me on the porch. They would never show up. I'm getting high and drunk. Did the same thing to my daughter. Causes, you know, I didn't see my daughter until she was really like a little bit older. Now we got a great relationship with all my kids. But I started doing the same shit my dad did to me, to my kids. And I felt shameful about that. Although, when I lived in Florida, I would fly them out to Florida. When I lived in Los Angeles, I would fly them out to Los Angeles. But I was absent a lot in their younger life because of my drinking and drugging. Same thing my father did. And I was dating this girl in Chicago. So I flew in to fly in Chicago because I wanted to get away from Florida and clear my mind, and go to Chicago, start going to the bars in Chicago, hanging out, drinking. I find cocaine. I'm doing the same shit there. And I'm saying, what am I doing to myself? And then I started crying again, like these emotional outbursts of crying in public places. I had to go to the bathroom, and I said I need to give myself help. I found a rehab in Chicago, and I put myself in rehab. And I stayed there for 3 months. And I was so ashamed and embarrassed. I got really depressed. I didn't know it though. I'm a big surfer, do a lot of surfing, a nature guy, a lot of nature. But I was getting depressed emotionally. And so I traveled a little bit around the world a little bit and around different places to get to learn to love myself for me. I didn't tell my family, I didn't tell my coaches, I didn't tell my managers, I didn't tell nobody. I was so embarrassed and ashamed. Came out of rehab, and I went back to Florida. I stayed there 1 month, and I ended up flying to Los Angeles. So I did most of my sobriety's been here in Los Angeles. So after 3 years not doing nothing, I was living off my money. California is expensive, man. And I decided to open up a boxing gym. I have my own boxing gym that I own here in California, which is right down the street from my home. But I didn't want to open up a boxing gym to train professional fighters. I really didn't have an interest in doing that. I wanted to open up a boxing gym to train regular people of all walks of life, old, young, middle age, didn't matter. And come into my gym like a blank piece of paper. I think of myself like Michelangelo, the ancient Renaissance artist. And I create artwork with my clients. And that's what makes me happy. It's to transform people mentally, physically, and even emotionally, because I make everybody laugh, because I'm a cornball. That's what makes me happy.
At one point I got like really disgusted with how flabby I was. And I asked Ricky to help me get in shape. And I would come here to his boxing gym and he taught me how to lift weights and how to work out. And man, I'll tell you, I got in the best shape of my life working with Ricky. I mean, really, really the best shape ever. I'll show you a picture. I'll show you a picture, damn it. What would I say to somebody struggling with drugs and alcohol? Probably sounds a little bit backwards, but I would say I hope things get really bad, you know, because typically things have to get horrendously bad before people find recovery or surrender to the process. So yeah, when people are new to recovery, the message is, yeah, I hope your life sucks. I hope it sucks so bad that you're willing to do whatever it takes to stay clean and sober.
My bout with drugs and alcohol, I think a lot of people go through it. I know lots of people in my family have, extending back many generations. And you know, I was fooling around with it, and you know, started off with weed and some beers and stuff like that, but it started to get a hold of me, and whatever, you know, psychological issues, physical issues that I have with those substances, once it got in me, I had a hard time stopping. And you know, I got some success in the movies with a movie called The Warriors, and all of a sudden I had a bunch of money in my pocket, and I had an attitude. And there was a lot of cocaine in the city of New York at that time, and I started getting into it. And I got into it heavy. And for the next few years, that kind of stuff dominated my life. The drinking and the drug taking, and it really, it destroyed a beautiful and promising career, which I have since recovered. You know, I've had a beautiful career since then because I've been clean and sober a long, long time. And Ricky is a guy that helps me with that. You know, Ricky and I have similar paths that way. I can't speak for him, but you know, I think it's fair to say that. And he helps me. Having a brotherhood, a fellowship with a guy that's been through some of the stuff I've been through helps me stay clean and sober. So if, you know, my general message to anybody who's younger than me that's having financial success or not and is struggling with drugs and alcohol, don't be afraid. You can quit. And if you are afraid, fuck it, you can quit anyway. All right?
That beast mode shit. God, 18 years sober. Best thing I ever did in my life. It gave me the opportunity to learn who I am as a sober man. Learn to love myself, to operate in this world, to learn to love myself. Because I hated myself ever since I was a little kid. I don't know if it's from all the abuse or my childhood or whatever it may be, I just didn't love myself. But I faked it a lot to everybody, made it look good. The thing is about me is that I always treated people, even when I was a kid, I always treated people with love and kindness because I didn't want them to feel the way that I felt. And that's why I am who I am today, and I treat everybody kindly. Old people, I sit down with them, talk to them, give them lots of love. Young people, middle, it doesn't matter who, I treat everybody with love. I'm like the motherfucking sun, baby. I put sun rays on people's lives. Black clouds, people like that rain hell and thunderstorm, those type of people, I go like this too. I blow away. I want to keep good people around my life, you know?
I mean, Ricky's a big part of like what makes me happy every day, because he's one of those people that in public is very inspiring to people, and acts as like inspiration to people in his private life too. And so it is very difficult to have a bad day around Ricky. You know, it really is. He's just, I've had people ask me like, now that you know him so well, is it an act? And I'm like, no, it's literally how he jumps out of bed. It's
ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. Yeah.
If we're on a hike, he'll interrupt me to yell at strangers, hey man, have a good day. You know, and sometimes they're like, whoa, and then they see the big giant Ricky smile and they melt.
Ah, look at this. Hey. What's up, bro? Doing the vacuum. How are you? How you doing? Hey.
Four-time world champ right here. I don't know if y'all know that. James Quattrochi. Hello, everybody from the Bronx, New York. This guy, you know, he's a life coach. He's not just a boxing coach. He's a life coach. He makes you feel like a lion. I could be tired. I could work a 20-hour day. I go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym. I go to the gym and I leave there. I feel like Superman. But mentally, he tells you to push through it. Don't quit. Work harder. Work through it. Be smart. And I take that in my life. I take that with me throughout my days. Thank you.
I love you, man. I love you. You know, good people, you meet a lot of people in life. For me, like I always said, I'm the sun. You have black clouds, this guy's the sun too, bro. Put sun rays on people's lives, you know what I mean? Sweat and sun rays.
I love you, man. He makes me sweat.
My name is Ray Gonzalez. I boxed for 11 years. I took the Golden Gloves 3 years in a row. I fought in the Ohio State Fair. I won that. I won numerous tournaments. I took it all to the pros. I fought my first pro fight. Wasn't fortunate to win. And then I took up coaching, and I did that with Freddie for a while. You know, and I coached for amateur and pro, you know. But then work came along and I had to feed the family, so that was it. But Ricky was wild, man. The guy was wild, you know. Like you look at him now that he's older, you know, you're like, nah, yeah, yeah.
We fought many a times where, you know, after we get done, we throw the gloves off and still be fighting, rolling around the ring, and then we get done and share some M&Ms or some candy, whatever we had, and we just hang out and talk. You know, we was really close boxing.
My whole life was out of fear. I would walk from school, from my home to Palm Avenue, I would get jumped. They would jump me 2 or 3 people.
And we were, I was walking, forgot the name of the street, but I was walking down the street and by myself, and two guys jump out. They want to fight. They want to start picking with me to box and fighting, and you know, I couldn't take them both on because I was young, you know, a little nervous and scared. But then I climb up on this roof part of this like little church, and Ricky's, I guess he sees it from the outside. Outside is in his house. He comes outside, he's looking, he tries to come over there, hey, what are you guys doing? And his mom is trying to keep him from coming over there because Ricky didn't know me. He'd come out there anyways, man, to the rescue, and then fight these dudes, and then it stopped. You know, so he came to save me, kind of like we were, and ever since then, we've been best buddies. You know, what's your name? I told him, and then I just hung out. We've been hanging out ever since then.
They were older, by the way, and I never got an ass whooping, ever. I always escaped in one way or the other by fighting back.
we're doing things, like I said, remember when before, I think it's Ashley, one of his babies were born, we were walking. It was rain. He tried to jump over a puddle and he missed it. And he landed on his finger. I figured if it's his left hand or his right hand. But he missed the puddle, hit the edge of it, the mud slid, finger hit the ground, and it pointed straight up to the sky. And he's, you know, not crying, not worrying about it. We get to the hospital, some girls walking. He's like, hey man, what I look like? My hair, my hair clean, am I good? Look. He's worried about some girl, how he looked, other than the pain in his finger.
Pretty boy. But don't let the looks fool you. He got hands. Yeah, so yeah, he's a pretty boy. Girls are always crazy for him. Every girl, you know what I'm saying? That's just what he was, but it's just the way he came across. Real good guy though.
His dreams was to hang out with the stars, and that's exactly what he said when he was little. I'm going to live with the stars. That's what he said.
Yes, sir. I'm here with the legendary actor, phenomenal actor, J.K. Simmons.
Yo.
From Lorain, Ohio, baby, South Lorain. Tell us, what time is this? What time is it?
It's time for Go Bucks. That's what time it is.
Hey, much love. Love you, Jay. This is Ricky at Ricky's Boxing Gym, hanging out with my boy Oscar Nunez, famous, talented actor on the show called The Office. Oscar, what's up?
What's up? We're down here at Studio City working out at Ricky's gym. If you want to learn self-defense, get in shape, come on down, check out Ricky. Good? Was that good?
No, man, that's not that good.
You got to call my manager to see how much it is for free.
What? Rah!
I met Ricky through Craigslist. I was looking for a masseuse, and I didn't have that much money. And I said, oh, this guy looks cool. Like, shaved, He had a thong. And I called the number, and he's like, yo, yeah, I'm a masseuse. I drove by. We're in the Valley in California. Hi, this is Oscar Nunez from The Office. And I saw the sign for a boxing. He has a boxing gym here in the Valley. And it's like, it's close to my house, it's convenient, and I'm like, oh, this guy, and his poster, he's got belts on. And I'm like, okay, this guy's fought before. So I came in and we talked, and we kind of hit it off. He's Puerto Rican, he's the real deal, he's a former champ. So I started taking lessons, and that was like, off and on, what, Ricky, 4 years? He says 4 years, 4 years ago.
I'm just happy for Ricky, man. He calls just for him staying grounded. Really, that means a lot. He comes home and he's still, the Sundays we have breakfast before he leaves. So he try to get with everybody he can. He stayed humble. Love him to death, my buddy.
Congratulations, Southview class of 1988. I wish you well and continued success in all your endeavors.
What's up, birthday brother? How you doing, man? Good, how are you? Good family, bro.
Love you too.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Love you. How you guys doing? Good. How you doing, baby?
Good, how are you?
You're great.
Thank you.
We're family. Danny! What's up, Papa? Danny right here, my boy. South Lorain, baby. Yeah, we're shooting for my docu right here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, my daughter right here. My firstborn. 37. My Uncle Freddie taught me how to draw when I was a kid. He would play with me and teach me how to sketch. Throughout school, I would draw a little bit. I'd take art class. One in particular in Southview, a man by the name of Mr. Karras. He's still living, by the way. And the Karras family, they're all my friends. my childhood friends. He really took to me and taught me a little more tricks of the trade to draw Mr. Karras. I love you, Mr. Karras. So I would draw, and I don't draw like if it's a hobby. I do it if I see something that means something emotionally, spiritually, and I would draw it, or I would come up, see something, and I would make it look way different. And for me, I haven't drawn in years, although I started to do something back there. And then I stopped because I don't get motivated. But when I'm in it, and then I'll stop for a couple months or a year, 2, 3 years, and then do something. I see something I like, I'll do it again, draw something or something, you know? So it's not like a hobby, like an everyday hobby. It's a feeling hobby where I feel something that's connected to me spiritually. And I do my thing.
All right, here's my pictures that I drew. It took me several months to draw this. I took my time on it. And let me zoom up so you guys can get a closer look at the detail.
That can't be overseas on TV, but I would walk by a tree and I see a beautiful leaf, and I would touch the leaf and feel the energy and the green life. I would look at a flower, I would feel it, say a little prayer, thank God for my eyes that I could see, thank God for my hands that I could shake, thank God for my legs that I can walk. That I'm able to every day create new experiences.
One thing I gotta say about Ricky is that he's very thoughtful. And what I mean by thoughtful, because once you get to a certain age, it's just a birthday. You know, you could be having a bad day, it's just a birthday. It doesn't matter, you know? And whatever you're going on in your life, Ricky would get this call from California, Ricky FaceTiming you. And, you know, he could be at the gym. He could be at some YouTuber's house. You know, he could be with his sister, Erica, eating lunch. And he would take the time to sing you happy birthday. And the man can't sing. He cannot sing. But man, he takes that time and he'll put it on his Facebook page, and everybody's happy birthday. Sometimes some people you don't even know. You know, so not too many people do that, you know, so he's very thoughtful. I love the guy. I love the guy.
I'm just a grateful man. I like see a little bug, I'm like, whoa, look at that guy, he's chilling, he's crawling, and the colors, and it blows my mind, you know, and I appreciate life. People take life for granted. And I've taken life for granted. Some people can't see, they got one eye. Some people don't have an arm or a leg. I believe the older we get in life, the faster time goes. The older we get in life, the more people we see our family, our friends pass away. I believe we're here as visitors on this earth. Once we depart this world, you can't take your money, you can't take your cars, your home, your jewelry. You take one thing in life and you take memories, and you leave memories. So when I get up in the morning, man, I try to create beautiful memories.
eso se quieren, se quieren, se quieren.
Mira qué lindas son las mujeres.
Yo le canto a las mujeres bonitas, preciosas, qué lindas son las mujeres.
Mira qué lindas son las mujeres.
Oye, qué lindas y son, oye, qué bellas son y son, o cuando quieren. Qué lindas son las mujeres. Y dicen quien no se atreve.
Mira qué lindas son las mujeres.
Oye, qué lindas y son. Oye, qué bellas son y son y son.
Mira qué lindas son las mujeres.
A la mujer hay que respetar. Recuerda que una mujer esa, mire tu mamá.
Mira qué lindas son las mujeres.
A las mujeres yo le canto porque las quiero, las amo, son un encanto.
Mira qué lindas son las mujeres.
En mi jardín, la más bella flor, son las más buenas que nos dio el Señor. Qué lindas son las mujeres. Sabrosas cuando se
Mira qué lindas son las mujeres.
Todas las mujeres son lindas, no importa si es cubana, americana, panameña, después que esté bien buena.
Mira qué lindas son las mujeres.
Qué lindas son las mujeres, lo más lindo que nos dio Dios de corazón es lo más lindo. Por eso yo te canto esta canción.
Mira qué lindas son las mujeres.
Me gustan las mujeres como baila, goza en la pista, por eso te canto, mami, quiero que baile conmigo.